Hi. Utah's 2025-26 budget, which was passed during the last legislative session, takes effect when the new fiscal year begins on July 1st. Today, I want to bring attention to a critical issue, one that impacts thousands of lives across our state and yet continues to be drastically underfunded. Welcome to Mondays with Marcia. I'm former Utah State Representative Marcia Judkins, and I'm here to talk Utah politics with you. So I serve on the board of The Refuge, which is a nonprofit organization that provides shelter, treatment, and advocacy for domestic and sexual assault survivors in Utah, Wasatch, Juab, and Carbon counties. In just the first 3 months of this year, The Refuge received 409 calls for help. But due to limited resources, 302 of those individuals were turned away. These numbers are more than statistics. They reflect real people, often in crisis, who were unable to receive the help that they needed. Nonprofits like The Refuge rely on a mix of federal and state funding along with donations and grants. And a major source of federal support, the Crime Victims Fund, has seen a sharp decline in recent years. It was established in 1984 under the Victims of Crime Act, and the fund is supported by criminal fines and penalties from federal cases. But since 2019, VOCA distributions to states have been cut by more than half. That drop has left a gap that state governments have been asked to help fill, but so far not at the scale needed. So several budget requests this year sought to address these gaps and to provide adequate resources to help survivors of domestic and sexual violence, and I want to tell you about a few of those. Representative Cheryl Acton requested $260,000 to continue the Strangulation Forensic Exam Reimbursement Program. This program helps law enforcement cover the cost of exams crucial for prosecuting cases of domestic violence. And this program has led to a threefold increase in prosecution rates. However, no funds were appropriated. So this program is set to end in June. Representative Galen Benyon requested $1.3 million in ongoing funding to support Utah's 16 licensed domestic violence service providers, including The Refuge. While the request was prioritized by the Social Services Appropriations Subcommittee, it did not make it into the final budget. Additionally, Utah's Rape Crisis Centers, which also includes The Refuge, worked with Representative Tyler Clancy to request $3.25 million ongoing annually for sexual assault prevention. And ultimately, $600,000 in one-time funding was approved, and that is to be spread over 3 years, which averages to just $12,500 per center per year. Domestic violence and sexual assault affect every community in Utah, and these funding decisions come at a time when Utah continues to report some of the highest sexual assault rates in the nation. Both prevention, education, and access to emergency services for victims are essential, and without sustainable funding, it becomes harder and harder to meet the growing needs of survivors statewide. So I hope that future budgets will reflect a deeper investment in these life-saving services, because for many survivors, timely access to help can make all the difference. So thank you for listening, and let me know what else you might have questions about, and I'll see you next Monday.